We'll start off with Daniel Fink. Go ahead, Daniel.
Drew, first, congrats on the new position. Looking forward to working with you here coming up. And I guess first off, we'll just lead with how did the opportunity come about?
It's I guess I kind of last summer thought about sent out some feelers about potentially hanging up the pads and retiring. But so I talked to Zinger and Rick St. Croix and just kind of just chatted, nothing major. But then anyway, I decided to play one more year, went back to Japan, played my last year with the team that I was playing with there. And anyway, and then throughout the year, I started sending out my resume again. But Rick, to my knowledge, Rick still kind of had another year on his contract. And anyway, then I just randomly gave Zinger a call one day, and he was just informed from Rick that he was going to retire. So it was kind of cool how that happened. And then we chatted, and then I didn't hear from him for a while. And then he gave me a call and said, okay, here's your interview. And it was in a few days. So I prepared for that, did the interview. And then it only took a few more days after that. They offered me the position, and I immediately talked about it with my family and immediately said, yes, it was where we wanted to go. That's for sure. I told Zinger, I said, I've been trying to come back ever since I left. So my wife and I, we didn't have kids then, but we've just loved it in Winnipeg. Couldn't wait. Jumped at the opportunity to come back.
And you mentioned kind of the other news today with Rick announcing his retirement. What's it mean to you to be stepping into the position held by your former goalie coach?
Yeah, it means a lot. He's way more than a goalie coach. He's always been a great friend. Been with me in a lot of, a couple times when my career was on its ninth life. He was there for me, not just in Manitoba, but he also was the reason that brought me to Toronto, and I played 2 years there and kind of resurrected my career from going back to the East Coast League and grinding it out and resurfacing. And he was, he's probably the main reason why I got there. And so he means a lot to me as a friend and also as a coach. So I'm really thankful that I got to be part of his career. That's for sure.
We'll go next to Dave Manouk. Go ahead, Dave.
Thanks, Jen. Hey, Drew. Congratulations on the new position.
Thank you.
What do you remember from your time in Winnipeg? You said it was somewhere you wanted to get back to, but you spent 2 seasons here. What are your fondest memories of your time in Winnipeg with the Moose?
Fondest memories. I mean, honestly, the whole thing was fond. I was Zinger kind of just like Rick. Zinger had a lot to do with I was on my way out before my career even started. I was the odd man out in Detroit, and Zinger traded for me from, he was, I think the main reason why I got traded from Detroit. And I started the season so up and down, and Rick was a big part of kind of letting me know that I belong and I can play and I belong there. And so really it was just 2 of the funnest seasons of our career. We had a great group of people. A lot of people who are still with the Jets and Moose that we know very well. And then also like teammates, like we had just amazing people, like friends that became like our closest friends from our whole career. Jason Jaffrey, Brad Moran, Maxime Fortunas, like this list of people that like we're still super close with. So, when you jump around the teams like I did, it's those relationships. I was just texting with Mike Keane, and I learned a lot. I learned how to be a pro there. I wasn't a pro yet, and I learned how to be a pro through Wade Flaherty and Mike Keane and Rick and everybody.
That was going to be my next question, because I was looking back at the roster, and you and Wade Flaherty were were teammates back in the old Moose days. So what's it mean to be kind of back in a coaching tandem when you were a goalie tandem with him, and in terms of sharing philosophies, that sort of idea?
Yeah, we had a couple chats through this. The first one was in the interview, and then when I got the job, we had a nice long conversation just about different things in the organization, about our goalies, and I couldn't be more excited to work with him. He's been there for a while, had amazing success. Hellebuck's turned into quite a goalie, and I'm just so excited to be a part of that. And I think we're gonna help each other. I hope I can help him in any way, and he's definitely gonna help me. But he really came into my career at the right time, because his veteran savvy I really needed. I was a jittery kid who would be first star one game and then the next night get pulled, and I needed to find a way to just be steady Eddie and find that consistency, and he was a big part of I saw the way that he approached the game, and it really rubbed off on me.
We'll go back to Daniel Fink. Go ahead, Daniel.
Well, you mentioned kind of wrapping up your playing career in Japan. I mean, you've pretty much been everywhere and seen it all in so many different spots. So how do you think that will help you as you work towards developing young professional goaltenders?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps. I've seen good, I've seen bad, I've seen everything in between. I've been in every situation. I've been the go-to guy in a team. I've been the backup. I've been the third string. I've been, you name it. I've kind of had a cup of coffee doing that role. So I think it only helps me for this kind of job, because I'm gonna know what each goalie, whether it be our goalies in the East Coast League and junior, college, and then obviously the Moose. I'm gonna kind of know what they're thinking, how they feel, what it feels like to be in that situation. I've seen different techniques from coaches all over the world. Some I like, some I don't. And, I think it only helps me. And I know, I think I only play 18 years pro in all these different leagues because I love the game, and I'm going to enjoy working with goalies who have a passion for it and work for what they get. You got to work for it. You got to deserve it, and you got to work for it. And, hard work will pay off.
Last one from me. I mean, you look at these young goalies coming up, and for yourself, having gone through that process, what's important for young professional goaltenders to really learn early on in their careers?
You need to be consistent. You, like I just mentioned about me, I can relate to a lot of these young goalies, because like I mentioned, would be first star one night, but then get pulled. And, I needed to find a way to be that reliable guy for my teammates each night. And that's not easy. It's not easy and you do that in a professional manner, the way you approach your job, the way you approach the game on a day-to-day basis, your habits. And I got pretty good at that. That was a strength of mine. I got to, my approach to the game became a huge strength of mine. And, so I hope to be able to rub that off on our goalies for sure.
We'll go next to Dave Manuke. Go ahead, Dave.
Drew, you've talked a little bit about like the idea of a philosophy, of goaltending philosophy. And one thing I've talked about with Eric Connery, who obviously for the last couple of seasons was the main guy with the Moose, but then through waivers bounced around. And he talked about the idea of different coaches having different philosophies and trying to incorporate them and that sort of idea. How important is it for you, though, to have kind of a instinct philosophy with Wade Flaherty, so the goaltenders in this organization, is it important, I guess, is the question, to have a consistent philosophy, or can you have your own independent one with the Moose that the players will adopt?
I believe it's only going to help us if we're on the same page. Wade and I need to be on that same page. Obviously, that doesn't mean every single technique and every situation game-wise, I have to be 100% in agreement, but our approach our approach about about how these guys, what they need to improve on, what's the goal for these guys, their tactics, whether it be, this guy needs to stay on his feet longer, this guy needs to simplify his game. I'm pretty confident after our first couple conversations that Wade and I are very in sync with that, talking about some of our potential goalies, what they need to kind of zone in on, and we're definitely on the same page so far. So I'm sure we'll continue that. And
I guess the speaking of goaltenders, the one we know for sure you guys will have with the Moose most likely is Mihail Berdin. Rick, I remember, described him like a Marty Turco style, like he's an unconventional goaltender to say the least. So what's it going to be like for you to work with someone like Mihail Berdin, in your first go around?
Yeah, well, he's got a ton of skill. I did a lot of preparation for my interview. I did video on him, and I studied him, and he's got so much potential. He's got potential to be a top goalie in the AHL, and then definitely potential to move up. And I'm gonna, just like I kind of mentioned about most goalies, I'm gonna be trying to help him get consistent, every night, being consistently the guy that our team can rely on. He's an amazing puck handler, so I'm going to try to hone that in with him. So I can relate to that, because I had to simplify my game. And once I did, I had a lot more success. And most 22, 23, 24-year-olds need to do that as well. So, I'm really excited to work with them if I do get the chance to work with them, and whoever I get to work with.
And I guess my last one for you, Drew, is that idea of a goaltender. Like, I know that we always say you have to have patience and goalies take longer, but is that still not necessarily fully understood, that these guys do take longer than a forward, longer than a defenseman? You just have to have patience with goaltenders.
You definitely have to have patience, for sure. I mean, it's tough to give up on goalies too quick, because there's been a heck of a lot of goalies that have, teams have given up on, that have turned out to be, real good goalies. So it's definitely a position where you need to mature. It's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of good goalies out there, so you need to hone your craft. And and the way that I think you do it is the way that you approach the game on a day-to-day basis, in a professional manner. And I'll do my best for our goalies, to be able to do that. So yeah, for sure, it's going to be cool.
Thanks, Drew. Appreciate it.
Thank you.